Will Baker Mayfield ever get off the Browns roster? Will the NFL ever actually release their NFL schedule? Find out right here on the Locked On NFL podcast. It's Chris Carter and your boy Q on the Friday edition. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Locked On NFL podcast. I'm your host, Chris Carter, my friend and co-host, your boy Q. We talk all things NFL on the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. Remember, you can find the show on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, and YouTube. If you're watching this video on YouTube, hit the like button if you're enjoying it. Hit the subscribe button to the YouTube channel to get all of our daily content on the Locked On NFL podcast. We have daily episodes as well as the Peacock and Williamson podcast and several other brands of content that comes on here. Q, how you doing, man?
Fantastic, man. Another week in the books, man. Getting ready to head into Mother's Day weekend. Shout out to all the mothers out there. But, man, I'm telling you, the NFL, fast and furious, they're never out of the headlines. So we always have plenty to talk about here on the show. So glad to be back at it again.
Same here. And you are right. We always have something to talk about. Also about Mother's Day. Keep listening. We got a special offer for y'all that'll help you if you're struggling finding something for your moms right now. But I want to talk to you, Q, about Baker Mayfield. Because
the gift that keeps on giving.
Until he moves, he's something to talk about because he's
Right.
still sitting on that roster. The other, there's a few aspects to this. And I said this a while ago. The Browns were in a tough position because, hey, Baker Mayfield was not good enough last year for teams to say, hey, we definitely want that guy.
Right.
B, everyone knows he don't want to play for you anymore. So, and C, why would I pay draft picks? It might be a situation where you have to Brock Osweiler him and give up draft picks to get rid of him and lose that salary. But again, who wants to pay his salary right now?
Right. You know what's funny about that, though? I keep looking at that, and I keep hearing that argument about his salary. I mean, it's $18 million. That's a cheap quarterback right now. I mean, think about that. That's actually a cheap quarterback right now. $18 million for a guy who used to be a number one overall pick. And I know that he's had his ups and downs, and as of late, more downs than ups. I get that. But, man, I'll tell you, I look around the landscape of the league and I say, yeah, you're rolling the dice with that quarterback. How about you take a shot at a dude that was at one point a guy that a lot of people thought was going to take the Browns to the Super Bowl? I mean, think about this. I know that in that division, I know you weren't that guy. But look, I mean, I'm looking at the big national kind of narrative. And there was a point where everyone thought, oh, the Browns is going to be that team this year. And Baker Mayfield's going to help lead them to the promised land. Now, obviously, it didn't happen. And he's, shown his reasons why. And of course, he's not the greatest quarterback. But think about what really hurt him the most. Like in the grand scheme of thing, I joke and goof about knowing his middle name, knowing that his name is Reagan, and him putting out that piece. That didn't help him at all. What hurt him ultimately the most was he tried to do what everyone asks every football player to do. Tough it out, go out there and play. He went out there and played with a banged up shoulder, and it came back to bite him in the backside. And he ended up having a worse season than he probably would have if he had been healthy. And if he had shut it on down, he might be in a better situation right now. Of course, that's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, but it's just a bad situation this dude's in. And my biggest question is I wake up every morning and wonder, what the hell team is this guy going to go to?
It's a good question. What team is he going to go to? We don't know for sure what's going to be a situation, because again, who wants him right now? You talked about, oh, that's a cheap contract for a quarterback, $18 million a year. The Steelers got
any quarterback they have in Seattle. I promise you, he's better than Drew Lock. He's better than Geno Smith. He's better than any quarterback that they have lined up in Seattle. He's better than any quarterback that they have in Carolina right now. Sam Darnold is not the guy. You know that. And
listen, I know Sam Darnold's not the guy, but I think him. Here's the thing. This is why Baker's on that level of Sam Darnoldness. Like he ain't all that, man.
No, he's not all that. He's not all that. But I mean, Sam Darnold's had multiple opportunities to show his worth, and it wasn't really working out. I think, and this is just me, I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, hey, so be it. I'll be the first to admit it. I think Baker Mayfield, with his back against the wall on a one-year deal, will go out and show something. Now, I don't know if long-term that's going to be a good answer. It probably won't be. But I think that if walk-on Baker Mayfield shows up at somebody's facility, he's going to be a good player. I don't know what's going to happen after that, after he proves himself. But I think if you get walk-on Baker, you got something.
Issue for the Seattle Seahawks, $18 million contract, $13 million in cap space.
There you go. There you go.
So if again, this to me, it's just a myriad of problems for Baker Mayfield to find his new home. Is that he has to force his way up. Here's the other situation. You don't have to make amends with the Browns, but just, you know what? All right, fine. You can't get rid of me. I can't force my way off your team. We'll rock out. When Deshaun Watson, I still think is going to get suspended at some point.
For sure.
If Baker Mayfield comes in and just works, doesn't make any
I'm not playing
noise.
for them. I'm not playing for them.
But here's the thing. You pull a Matt Flynn, you light it up for like 2 games, and then Deshaun Watson comes back. Then teams are like, okay, we want that guy. But I think teams are too scared of one the money, but 2, they're thinking like, well, he wasn't that great the last time I saw him. You got to do something to make teams want you. And right now, it looks like nobody cares enough.
I'm not playing for that team, dude. I'm not.
Okay.
I mean, the only reason I am is because you went out and gave $230 million guaranteed to a guy with 22 civil suits against him against sexual assault and said you want an adult in the room. Like, you have disrespected me to the highest level of disrespect. I'm not playing for you. You know what I mean? Like, that's just it. I'm normally a guy that's like, put your head down and go to work. But really, you insulted me like that? Like, you thought that was a better option with all the baggage that he's bringing in? That's like having a great looking woman and you're right to get to the altar, and then you leave her hanging right there, and then you go out and get a woman that looks good but also has like 10 baby daddies to go with it that you're gonna have to deal with, and you're like, that's a better situation than what we're dealing with here. You know what I mean?
10 baby daddies?
He's got 22 suits.
I'm sorry. Those lawsuits are funny, but I was wondering where you were going with this analogy. I was just like, where is he? The woman? Okay,
I don't know. I tried, man.
But in all seriousness, I get what you're saying there, and Baker Mayfield has the right to feel slighted, and I even said it's fine for him to feel some type of way. I just think again, don't put it out there. Don't let people see, because I guarantee you, Matt Ryan felt some type of way. But did you see him complain in the media? No. Guess what? He's with the Indianapolis Colts. He's on a team that he might be able to work. Then that might have been a landing spot for Baker Mayfield if he had made it.
I think Mayfield's better than Mariota. I think Baker Mayfield's way better than Mariota.
Falcons would be a spot.
Mariota was playing for the Raiders the last couple of years, and he wasn't playing because he was banged up. I mean, that dude couldn't stay healthy. He had one run to start the season, like a 33-yard run, and then he pulled a hammy. I mean, he's not a guy that you could ever depend on. So that would have been a spot. But now Mariota's there in Atlanta. Of course, they went and got Ritter as well from during the draft. So that's not a landing spot anymore. I just feel like some of these teams rather go with a guy that they feel like is safe, and I say that in air quotes, than rolling the dice with a guy like Mayfield. And look, some of these guys like a Matt Rule, I keep going back to Carolina because I think if he doesn't get it done this year, he's going to be out. So he might have wanted to go ahead and hitch his wagon to a guy that is on the same scenario where his back's against the wall too. I mean, they might need to, your best ally in a fight is a guy that's got everything to lose as well. So, maybe those two together would have been great, but
the Panthers still make the most sense. Not just because of that, but because they have the most currently available cap space in $30 million. You could absorb Baker Mayfield's contract. And here's if I'm the Carolina Panthers, and maybe this is what they're doing. Maybe they're playing the long game. They're seeing how long, Cleveland, how long can you hold out? Because I know that's burning a hole in your pocket right now. Maybe you're sitting there, if you're Matt Rule, if you're Scott Fitterer, and you're calling up Cleveland, hey man, the price is you give us a 3rd round pick and we'll take Baker Mayfield and that contract off your hands. And maybe they're trying to house them, and the Browns are sitting and the Browns are sitting there. We just gave up like 4 years of NFL draft picks to get Deshaun Watson. We can't give up another pick to lose our quarterback. Like that can't be a thing.
That's so much disrespect, man. God, they disrespect. They really hated Baker Mayfield. Like, if I'm Baker Mayfield, I'm like, damn, you really hated me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're willing to do all that to bring in this other dude, like, they gave up all that draft capital to Houston to acquire Deshaun Watson, who we all know is going to get suspended at some point. We all know everything that's going on off the field. And then you're most likely, like you said, going to have to give up draft capital to get rid of your current quarterback and Baker Mayfield. That whole situation is browned all the way up, man. It is browned all the way up.
They found a way to mess that up. But again, I still think the only thing that really happened here was they initially, again, the reports were that Deshaun Watson visited Cleveland and there was, and like it was a clean, like, hey, that what you're asking for, what this would take, it ain't gonna work on both sides. But when Baker Mayfield heard that he visited Cleveland and he released that tweet, and the Browns realized, oh snap, the guy who we thought the reason we said no to Deshaun when he visited is because we thought we had Baker, and now Baker's making it clear he ain't playing. So now we do have to go get Deshaun Watson. That's the thing. Again, if Baker doesn't say nothing, he's the presumed starting quarterback. That the Browns don't make that trade, and someone else, maybe Deshaun Watkins is with the Falcons. But right. I think that was a desperation move once they realized they had made Baker mad, and I think that's where again this all stems from. But again, you're in a position now where you have him on the roster. You could use Baker Mayfield for whenever Deshaun Watson's suspension or something is coming. But like you said, would Baker Mayfield take that? Would he put on your jersey again?
Right.
To go out there? That's going to be a major story. And again, if I'm the Carolina Panthers, I just sit there because I look around. Like, I'm looking at the current cap space. Teams with more than $18 million in cap space. The Lions barely. The Chargers barely. The Saints barely. The Dolphins, The Texans at 23. The Browns. It's funny enough, the Browns are one of the teams with more than $18 million in cap space.
That's why they're gonna have to sit there and pay the man then.
That's why I think it's just, they're just in a rough spot. If I'm him, I sit there, I'm like, hey, I'm available. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what? Put on the jersey. Go to practice. When Deshaun Watson can't play, make plays. But just the whole time, just do it, and just do it for the love of yourself. Do it for, he says he loves the fans of Cleveland. Do it for the fans of Cleveland. But just know, you know what? I don't mess with you. Remember when LeBron went back to Cleveland and Dan Gilbert was talking bad about him? I always felt LeBron had no reason to go back to that organization of the Cavaliers, but he did want to do something for the city of Cleveland. I know Baker's not from there, but it could be a similar thing. It was like, hey, I'm going to play these few games for y'all while Deshaun's hurt, and if I ball out, then someone will come and get me. So that might be the best resolution for Baker Mayfield. But man, what a saga that this has been. We're going to talk about some other things. Q has some fire to rip off. He's got some shots to take because he is mad about something that the NFL is doing and the way that they've handled it. We're going to talk about that in just a second here. But first, we got to talk to you guys about Blue Nile. As I said earlier, Mother's Day is right around the corner. It's this weekend, and if you're in a hurry, you need to go to BlueNile.com right now. Because whether your mom prefers a statement piece or everyday subtle elegance, BlueNile.com has fine jewelry options for every mom. Shop high-quality classic diamond earrings, elegant tennis bracelets, or gemstone pendant necklaces. If you're looking for fine jewelry but having trouble choosing, go to BlueNile.com. They have jewelry experts on hand 24/7. They're available by phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Celebrating a special woman in your life? BlueNile.com can help you navigate thousands of fine jewelry options at every price point. This Mother's Day, give mom something she'll treasure forever with fine jewelry at BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get from $50 to $500 off with this exclusive offer. But this podcast exclusive is only good through Mother's Day. So get on it. Go to BlueNile.com. Use the promo code Locked On. That's LOCKEDON. Locked On. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece by going to BlueNile.com today. We're also brought to you by BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports information. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NBA playoffs, the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs, which have just gotten underway this week, and, of course, Major League Baseball, which is well underway. There's a lot of action in sports right now, and there's ways you can make money by going to BetOnline.net. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, from live betting to playoffs to esports and more. Head to the website today to use your mobile device and learn more about the trends in the action when you visit BetOnline, where the game starts. Now, when we do back-to-back ad reads, that means we keep it rolling here in the Locked On NFL podcast. But Q, let's talk about what your gripe is. Now, you told me listen, like we were trying to talk about what we were going to talk about for the Friday episode. What we were going to do, and Q's like, listen, man, this schedule stuff is whack. And I was like, huh? What do you mean? Like, I don't pay attention. I wait for the schedule to come out, then I do it. But the NFL is slow playing this even more than they normally slow playing this. They're letting each day know. Q, break it down. What is the NFL doing, and why is it driving you nuts?
Well, they're just being unnecessary. They're just being too cute. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look, I get it. The NFL is a machine. They're a juggernaut. We all know that they are king. They find a way to take over every single month. They're genius when it comes to there's something major happens every month of the year, right? So there's always a reason to keep us locked in. That's great. But when it comes to the schedule release, first of all, they're just about the only sport that we actually pay attention to the schedule. Now, I know when in college football, we'll go over it as well. We'll go over our, whatever team we're covering, or if you have a favorite college football team, you'll go over it and say, okay, this is what the schedule looks like. But for the most part, the NBA, we don't go through the schedule and be like, oh man, this is going to be a great month of December for so-and-so team or whatever. We don't do that. Major League Baseball, we don't care about that. The major sports, hockey, we don't care about that. The NFL, the schedule release comes out, we're like, oh my God, this team's going to win 12 games. They're going to go 12-5, and they're going to win the division, whatever. That's what we do. We are creatures of habit. That's just what we do. They got us hook, line, and sinker. But what I don't need is having the international games announced on the 4th like we got earlier this week. Okay, we know what games are coming out on the international games. Great. On Monday, and listen to me carefully when I say this is the process that the NFL is going to do when it comes to releasing the schedule. On Monday, May 9th, ESPN will announce some of their games. Monday Night Football is on ESPN. They're going to announce some of their games, not just the Monday Night Football slate, not all of them, some of the games. So, yeah, maybe we'll give you a handful of what Monday Night Football games are going to be. Okay, one, that's unnecessary. Okay, if you're going to give me the ESPN games, just give me all the Monday Night Football schedule.
Get up, Q.
I'm just saying. So that's Monday. Tuesday, CBS gets their turn to let you know about a couple of their games. Oh, well, here's a game that we have in December. Here's a game we have in October. Here's a game. I mean, like, are you serious? So more slow drip. Drip, 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 drip. Like that faucet, that leaky faucet that just you're laying in bed, you're trying to sleep, and all you hear is that little.
Let's see. Here's the difference. That faucet, it's got like grade A whiskey. It's got the best liquid. So we're sitting there with a cup right under the faucet, like, give me the drip. Give me all the drip, man.
We are gonna be out. Look, I'm complaining about it, but I'm gonna be there watching every moment of it. I mean, let's not get it twisted. Like I said, they got us. We're suckers. But look, okay, so Tuesday, CBS's turn. Wednesday, it's Fox's turn to give you a couple of games. And then on Thursday, NBC's turn to give you a couple of the games. Oh, but hey, we're going to enhance it a little bit because Thursday is the 12th. All teams will announce their first home game. So you cover the Steelers, I cover the Raiders. We'll find out when their first home game is going to be. And then later on that evening on the 12th, then the whole schedule is going to come out. Look, I don't need a whole week event to tell me what 17 games are going to be played. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally 17 games. I don't need a whole event. I'm sitting here writing everyone down. Okay, so on Monday Night Football, the Raiders are going to play on October this. And okay, then they got a Thursday game here. Okay, and then they have a CBS game here. I don't need all that, man. Just wait till Thursday. Wait till Thursday evening, and I'll give you all the games, and I'll be good.
The NFL is one of the best at watching how trends play out and saying, ooh, we're going to copy that. We're going to make it ours. And then we're going to be known to be the best at it. Like years ago, and it still happens every year. But you remember like a few years ago when there was like that Twitter account that was saying we're an NFL schedule leak account.
Yeah.
We work in the front office, and for like weeks they were saying this team plays this team on this week, and like the majors were out here saying like people from ESPN, people from Barstool, people from everywhere were saying like maybe this is true. I don't know. This is and like retweeting it. And this thing had like tens of thousands of followers. Like everyone was like, oh man, the Steelers are playing the Ravens in week 14. That's crazy. And, this like and all this stuff. And then at the end of it, like the day of the release, he's like the account says, yeah, this has been fake the whole time, but thanks for following along. And it was, but the NFL that thing was blowing up. So they realized, wait a minute, we can actually do that with the actual schedule and get people to lose their minds every day. The NFL, all they want to do is dominate every single day of media. That's what they do. That's what it is right now. That's what makes it
Christmas.
They're stealing Christmas. They're doing Christmas games every year now, and that is messed up. The NBA is sitting there like, can we have something? Can you just let us have something? I mean, March Madness was sitting there like, can we do our March Madness tournament without y'all just having every crazy free agent hire every day and stealing the top story? That's the NFL. They're a monopoly. They want to, and they've monopolized football. I know the USFL and XFL are trying to be a thing, but they've monopolized football. All those guys in the caliber, they've monopolized football. Now they're trying to monopolize sports and say, you know what? We're the number one story every single day, every single week. I don't care what else is out there. You could have the Stanley Cup playoffs, the NBA playoffs, all in Game 7 at the same time, and more people are going to be scared, more worried about Are the Lions going to play the Jaguars in London on week 13?
Right.
I don't
Right.
know. Find out today. That's what they're
What's the
going to do.
Thanksgiving game going to look like? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Jeez. But hey, like I said, they're a machine, and I'll be following along. I mean, I've said all this to say I'll be following along, and I'll be tweeting about it, and I'll probably be fired up. But it's unnecessary. It's so unnecessary.
So wait, is the real thing? Are we unnecessary? Like, are we?
Yes. No, because honestly, we do the Friday show here on Locked On NFL. If everything came out on Thursday, it'd make a fantastic show for us next Friday. Instead, half the schedule's going to be out before we get to it. So really, my real beef is, damn it, they're taking content away from us.
By giving us content early, they're taking away from us in the Friday episode.
Because they're letting everybody else have a piece of it too. I don't want anyone else to have a piece of it. I'm selfish.
Yeah, get out of here. Roger Goodell, we blame you here on the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. My goodness, y'all are getting it crazy. But we're gonna switch it back to a little bit of NFL draft review. Last week, you heard our opinions of the first round and who killed it in the first round, who had the best fits and all that. We're going to look at the whole draft and give you our perspectives on who did the best. From now we've seen all 7 rounds play out and a little bit of free agency afterwards. We'll talk about that in just a moment here on the Locked On NFL podcast. But first, we're going to talk to you guys about Built Bar. Y'all know about Built Bar. It's the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar. And with summer right around the corner, it's the ultimate food on the go. Built Bar is the perfect snack to take with you on family vacations or when you're just out and about. You can throw them in your bag, your kids' backpacks, and you can make sure that everyone has a bar so that you're fueled on your summer adventures. The best part of Built Bar is that they're healthy and delicious, and there's no more sacrificing delicious food for your health. With Built Bar, you can have both, and it's easy. All you got to do is go to built.com and order right now. It'll be delivered right to your door. Built Bars and the new Puffs bars are covered in 100% real chocolate, which means they're going to taste amazing. Have you tried the new Built Puffs yet? They're what everyone's going crazy for the first ever protein-infused marshmallow, covered in 100% real chocolate, and they have crazy flavors like banana cream pie and churro. They're amazing. And if that's not enough for you, they have the regular Built Bars, which again, covered in 100% real chocolate. And if you get the mixed box of Built Bars, there's 12 in the box, so you can try out all the different flavors. And there's a Built Bar for everybody. My personal favorite is double chocolate. I like the chocolate on the outside, the chocolate on the inside. I like to double down on my chocolate. And the crazy thing is, like, you get all that chocolate, you think, oh man, that's gonna be weighing me down. Guess what? It's just 130 calories. It's just 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, but you're also getting 17 grams of protein to help you out with your protein. Compare that to the average candy bar with 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of net carbs. The choice is simple. And if you go to built.com, they have so many flavors like banana cream pie, raspberry, double chocolate, mint chocolate, all those things available, and new ones coming out every single month. So go to built.com. When you go there, use the promo code LOCKED15. That's LOCKED15, LOCKED15, and you get 15% off your next order when you visit built.com. Back here in the Locked On NFL podcast, it's Chris Carter and your boy Q on the Friday edition. Q,
yo,
we've had a chance to step back and assess the draft and think about it for a week. So we're not hot taking it here, but we are hot taking it. My thing is, okay, but before we get into who we thought had the best ones, I hate NFL draft grades.
I know, me too.
Me too. Dumbest thing, because you know what? If you looked at so many every year, oh man, this team, they got Jamarcus Russell in the first overall pick. That's
man, hey, dog, hey, why you got to bring up old stuff, man?
Okay, my bad. That was my bad. I forgot that was y'all. I was just naming busts in the top of my head, and he's always right up there.
Hey, that was unnecessary shot taking, man.
Okay, I'll even it out. The Steelers took Jarvis Jones. He's a great fit for the edge rushing position, and and then he turns out to be a complete bust and didn't even play after his 4 years with the Steelers. But point being, every year I hear this grade, that grade. I'm like, I don't care about your grade right now. I grade you after your rookie contract is over, after the first 4 years. Because if you got a 5th year extension, that's another thing. But if after 4 years you're in the NFL, you're on your team or something, then I want to see how good you were. Because Bud Dupree was a guy in Pittsburgh considered a bust for the first 2 years of his career. Then his 3rd and 4th years, he made his case. Then he stuck around. He was franchise tagged. He stuck around with the Steelers, and then he got his big payday with the Titans. He turned out to not be a bust. It takes time for guys to develop, so that's why I hate these grades. But that being said, Q, what team did you felt did the best in this NFL draft?
Well, I'll say this, and I'm not going to put a grade on it because I'm like you. I don't like grades, but I'll say ultimately, I think the Baltimore Ravens probably came out of the draft and were fantastic. And I've always respected the Baltimore Ravens front office. I think that they do a great job of drafting and developing, and then they're so comfortable with moving guys on. Like, hey, a guy comes up for free agent contract, they'll move him or they'll trade him and they'll get rid of him. But I like what Baltimore was able to do. Kyle Hamilton in the first round was fantastic. I like Daniel Falele, the big offensive tackle out of Minnesota. They were able to get him. They got some more defensive players. They drafted a lot of guys, so they have a lot of guys in competition. I mean, they had one round where they had, 6 guys? They had 6 picks because of moves that they were making.
Mm-hmm.
But what really makes me like and respect what Baltimore was able to do, and I know this is going to be kind of a shot I'm taking, but it's not really. I think that they got better by getting rid of Marquise Hollywood Brown. I'm not a big fan of Hollywood. He's going to Arizona where he's a better fit. He can go there with Kyler Murray and get back to that Oklahoma style offense, with Cliff Kingsbury running the show and Kyler Murray, his quarterback that he had at college in Oklahoma. I think that that's a better fit. I don't think that Marquise Hollywood Brown is a Raven. I mean, there's certain, as you know, I mean, you cover the Pittsburgh Steelers, so you know what they kind of build and what they kind of look like for players. I don't think that Marquise Brown was ever a guy that fit the Raven mold.
Yeah, I
so,
agree.
You know what I mean? So you kind of move on from him. He wanted to get out of there, so he had an opportunity to get a big payday. I don't know what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson and his contract. I still think that's another situation that needs to be addressed. But as far as just getting talent on that roster, getting guys that look like Ravens, I think they did a really good job. And like I said, I can't go against that front office very often. But you get Kyle Hamilton in the first round, who's
without moving.
Without moving, he's one of the best safeties that I believe in that draft class. Now, like you said, of course, they got to go out there and perform on the field to see if they can get it done. But I mean, on paper, it looks like Baltimore really improved their team. And you remember last year, their biggest hangup was a lot of injuries. I think that they addressed a lot of areas where they had a lot of guys banged up. So I think that this year they'll come back stronger, better than ever in that division that the Steelers, the Browns, the Bengals, and the Ravens are in. The division that so well is going to be so stinking competitive once again.
Well, here's the thing: is that one thing that's always been interested to me is the Steelers and Ravens rivalry. For as much as the nastiness that's between the fans, the organizations really respect each other. And when you hear them talk about like, we want to win like they win, or we want to play the way they want to play, or we want to build they want to build, and you see how there's very similar styles of picking. Ozzie Newsome and Kevin Colbert for years, and crazy enough, Newsome just retired, Colbert's about to retire.
Right.
Like that's who they bit, but. The picks that the Ravens all made, Steelers fans, every time they picked somebody in like the first 3 rounds, Kyle Hamilton, every Steelers fans like, dang it, they got him. Come on, man.
They got David Njoku, who's not going to play obviously right away, but he could end up being a steal. They got him in the second round.
They got him in the second, and that was another one. People were like, oh man, really? Him? Right. They got him. And then when they got Travis Jones, Steelers like, that's another one we wanted. God dang it, come on, man, give us a break. That was what. That's how you know you doing a good job in the draft.
Right. Yep.
The one thing I think the Ravens messed up on is they got rid of Marquise Brown, but they didn't go get another receiver. And they even, and the story is now leaked out. They were messed up because the Steelers taking Calvin Austin III out of Memphis. That was their pick. That was their guy.
Right.
And the Steelers took him a pick before, and they were like, come on, give me a break. So the Steelers got a little bit of payback, but again, a 4th round wide receiver versus maybe the best safety in the draft, maybe the best player in the draft, getting to you at 14 overall. Tyler Linderbaum, the top center, though I'm not. So the reason I hesitate on Tyler Linderbaum, because if Linderbaum was the perfect center, one, he would have gone top 10, and 2, the Steelers would have tried everything to get him. But his short arms and lack of strength at the point of attack concern me. But I love the Travis Jones pick. I think he's a phenomenal Ravens pick. I think that Ohabi's going to do a great job once he's back to full strength. But the team that I truly think did the best, it's not just their draft class, it's what they did. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. Because they went and got Jordan Davis in the first round. That's their new Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox has been a huge part of who the Eagles have been, but Fletcher Cox is old, and they needed a new one. And I've said for a while, whoever gets Jordan Davis is getting one of the most unique defensive tackle players we've ever seen coming out of the NFL draft. His size, his athleticism, his raw ability, his youth, he's all going to play a factor. That I know some people saying, well, Devontae Wyatt was a better pass rusher. Devontae Wyatt was also 3 years older than Jordan Davis. So. You're getting a guy who has all that, who's faster, who's bigger. He's going to be able to grow on that. And in 3 years, when he's finishing up his rookie contract, he'll be the age of Devontae Wyatt, and Devontae Wyatt will be 27 going on 28. And you're looking at different parts of their careers to have. Then you get a center in Cam Jurgens from Nebraska, not like an elite pick, but a solid, like, hey, that's a good fit
Right.
for need.
Sure.
And then you maybe get the steal of the draft and getting Nakobe Dean all the way in the 3rd round. Now, granted, he has a pec injury. They got to see how that happens. But everything I heard and I read about Nakobe Dean was that he was a beast and a leader. So
he was
excited about that. And then don't forget, they traded to get AJ Brown.
That's the cherry on top right there. Given all the weapons that need to be for Jalen Hurts. Now Jalen Hurts has got to go prove that he's the guy, but he has all the weapons now around him, all the tools. They went and got Devontae Smith the year before. Now you got AJ Brown. Those are really nice wide receivers to add to that mix. I really think the Eagles should be in play for the NFC East this year, just based off of what they've been able to do. If those guys pan out, the guys you've been talking about, they'll be in play for the NFC East, no doubt.
That's what you draft to win your division and then get ready to go to the playoffs, because that's the first step there. And the Ravens, I think they stand a good chance to win the AFC North. The Eagles, they stand a good chance to win the NFC East.
Facts.
I think we're both on something there with who did the best in this NFL draft. Q, thanks so much for being my co-host and ride with me every Friday. Let people can find you, follow you, get more of your work.
Well, you can always find me on the back of a milk carton. No, I'm kidding. You can always find me on Twitter at your boy Q254. I was going to go with a post office joke, but does anyone go to the post office anymore? I don't think so. Everyone does everything online. So at your boy Q254 on Twitter is where you can find me. How about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Carter Critiques. If you hit me up on this post office jokes, jeez. But you can find me there. You can also find this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, and YouTube, just like you find the Locked On Raiders podcast where Q hosts, and the Locked On Steelers podcast where I host, and where all of the Locked On Podcast Network shows are hosted Monday through Friday, daily episodes with bonus episodes whenever there's breaking news when we do our Locked On Nows. Check us out for all the great content. Q, thanks again. Everyone have a happy weekend, and hey, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yes.
And remember, if you need to get your mother something, go to BlueNile.com. They'll help you out. We'll be back next Friday breaking things down when they do release the full schedule and let you know who's actually playing.